Your life is preaching a message whether you like it or not. The real question is what that message is reflecting. Is it reflecting the kingdom of God or is it reflecting your own comfort? Hey guys, today we're going to talk about what it means to be leading ourselves and leading by example. Because if you're not leading yourself, why would anybody follow you? Welcome to the Grind to Glorify podcast, the podcast that forges godly men into disciples and leaders through biblical truth, spiritual discipline, and the kingdom purpose, all for the glory of God. I'm your host, Christian Brown, and I'm excited to talk to you today, but what it means to be leading by example. And this is something dear to my heart. And the big thing is most men want to be leaders, but they're not willing to lead themselves. They want the title of a leader, but not willing to do the work behind the doors to really become the man God's calling them to be. And then one of the big things that really makes a good leader is his character. And that leads to my top 3 points. My three main points is this: your character leads to your example, and your example leads to your influence. And most importantly, your influence leads to your legacy. So let's get to that first point. Your character leads to your example. 1 Timothy 4:12, because here at Grind and Glorify, we're rooted in biblical truth, always want to go to the word. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Last week, we talked about what character was. My father always said character is who you are when no one is looking. And that's the same thing here when we talk about setting the example and leading yourself well, is who you are in private determines what kind of leader you are in public. So we need to make sure that as we live our life and as we make decisions based on how we're going to spend our time, what we're going to spend our money on, and how we're going to conduct ourselves, all those things should be revolving around what we want to be as a leader. All those decisions should be focused on what we want the end result of our life to be. And the thing is, you don't rise to the level of your potential. You ultimately fall to the level of leadership and the level of character in your life. The big thing is, whenever we come into some tough times, that's when you see true character. That's when you really see who people are, because it's real easy to fake it till you make it when things are going easy, things are going right. But the moment that we hit some adversity in our life, the moment things get tough, that's when you start seeing men's real character. That's when you start seeing who are the warriors in your life, who's going to go to battle with you. And that's when you start seeing the cowards who are going to run away from tough situations. And the big thing is, I never want to be a coward and I never want to run away. But the big thing is, I got to start building myself in my private time and who I am when no one's looking, to become the man God's called me to be. And how I do that is everything's rooted through prayer, consistent prayer. My character is just rooted and foundationally through fervent prayer. I want God to know where I am mentally, where I am in my mind, where I'm in my heart. I want to talk to him intimately because he is my father. And that's something that has been a muscle that I've been building more and more, especially in my life, especially on this journey of becoming a godly man, becoming a father, becoming a husband, is giving everything to God and praying to him. And let me tell you, through adversity, you'll never pray more to God than in the tough times, at least in my experience. And I recently was laid off this past year, and I prayed to God, and our prayer life and my relationship with God got so much better because I was willing to do the tough work behind closed doors and really build my character and really go through those times with God, not away from God, but I really wanted to get closer with him. Another thing we could do is start building our integrity. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Let me tell you, this is something I try to continually build. I'm not the best at it. I'm kind of flaky, if I'm honest. I'm really trying to learn how to prioritize my life, prioritize my task, and allowing my yes to truly be a yes, my no to truly be a no. But that's something that you really have to work on, is your integrity and who you are. Who are you? What's that character? What are you built on? Because the big thing is, the more that we show up for the people we love with, the more that they can count on us. And the big thing is, the more that we lean into God, the more he's going to show in with us. And then we move into integrity, which just means being an honest and high moral individual, having that character. So as we build our character based on God and talking to him and communing with him, we also want to be some high character individual, high moral people. We want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, because believe it or not, it's always the right time to do the right thing, no matter if it's easy or hard. And a lot of times, especially in the world today, doing the right thing's tough. And I just want to encourage you, have some integrity, have some character about yourself, and always do the right thing, especially when it's tough. And then my third little point is just having humility. No one owes you anything, correct? You always got to work hard for your next opportunity, work hard to be the man God's called you to be. Have some humility. You don't have all the answers, believe it or not. I know I don't. And if you do have all the answers, please share them with me. But the big thing is being humble and approaching every day with the willingness to learn, the willingness to develop, and the willingness just to be a servant of God. And let me tell you this, whenever you do those things, your leadership and your character starts being built and you start seeing that foundation grow. And your example starts when no one is watching. Your example and your building blocks start when no one's looking after you. Because the big thing is it's easy to be the man when people are watching. How are you building yourself when no one's watching? How are you building yourself in your private time with God? How are you building yourself with those few moments in the car? What are you listening to? What are you diving into? What are you reading? What are you watching? All of those things all pour into who you are and your character. So when your character is consistent, your example starts to become visible and your leadership starts to see through because your character is strong enough to hold a foundation of leadership. And that's where true influence begins. So when your character is consistent, your example begins to become visible. Your character really starts to shine through because that's where real influence begins. Because the truth is, your people don't just hear what you say, they see how you act, they see how you move. And that brings me to my next point. Your example is your influence. Titus 2:7 says, show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works. You got to be able to not only build yourself up into some high character individuals, you got to be able to build yourself into being men of God. What you have to do is know that as you do that, your example is going to be shown through that. And then that's when your influence starts to begin, because you have to show yourself in all aspects to be a model of good works, all aspects, everything. And that's a tough order to ask. But let me tell you this real quick. As a father and a husband, this is something you should already be doing. And it's tough and it's grimy and it's really lonely at times. But let me tell you, the reward is sweet. Whenever your father or whenever your son or whenever a peer really talks to you and encourages you and appreciates the man that you are, that's worth it. But you got to be willing to do the hard work, because it says here, show yourself in all respects to be a good model of, or be a model of good works. We got to be able to work. We got to work hard to becoming the men God's called us to be. And this is the thing, leadership isn't a position, it's an example. If you're going out there trying to find the next title, the next promotion, the next this, the next that, all to be a leader or to be in leadership, you're falling short, and you're always going to fall short. True leadership starts within. True leadership starts with the character that you possess when no one's looking. And the big thing is, if you're really fighting to be a leader through a position, through a title from this world, let me tell you, man, it's going to be empty once you get to that mountaintop, once you get to that title, because all you're going to do is look for the next big thing. Where in truth, if you don't find that thing in God and something eternal, you're always going to be left wanting. But if we lean into who God is, because he is eternal, because he gives us rewards, because all things from God is good, it's going to be everlasting. So you need to start finding your title, finding your worth, finding who you are, your identity in Christ, in God, because people follow how you live more than what you say. And if you're living for Christ, man, they're going to really allow that influence to be spread. That influence is going to grow, and you're going to start seeing yourself become the leader that you truly seek to become. And the thing is, it's not just what you say, it's not just what you do, but it's also what you tolerate as leaders. What you tolerate out of others, and most importantly is yourself, becomes your standard. So whenever you're living your life, you're trying to grow into being a godly man, I want to challenge you to not tolerate mediocrity. Don't tolerate being slothful. Don't tolerate being lazy. Take steps every day to grow, to become the man God called you to be, to become a disciple, to become a leader. Because what you teach also is what's going to be your influence. Because teaching is us intentionally trying to press upon knowledge, trying to press upon a lesson to others. And that's going to be part of your influence. And how you use that influence is truly going to dictate what kind of leader you are. Because what you live out is ultimately going to show what you're teaching, and what you're teaching is what you're going to live out. Both those things go hand in hand. And the thing is, all these things, all this example, all this influence is what you're going to pass on to not only those around you, your peers, maybe the people on your team, but most importantly, I would say to the next generation, to your family, to your kids' kids, to your grandkids. And this is the thing, influence grows through consistency, not charisma. So you can always have motivation, but motivation's only going to take you so far. You need to start having some discipline about yourself, having some consistency in your life, and building the building blocks of your life one brick at a time, brick by brick in your life. Now, let me encourage you with this. It's okay to be motivated. It's okay to get a high from maybe a church service, maybe a message, maybe from a podcast, but it's what you do after that, right? Again, we talk about character, who you are when no one's looking. Start building some disciplines in your life that'll help you brick by brick build you into the man God's calling you to be, build you into the disciple as a fully devoted follower of Christ and as a leader that you truly seek to become. Because your example today becomes someone's standard tomorrow. But what you teach today, what you live out today becomes someone's standard tomorrow. I believe this fully, especially as fathers, because I know what I tolerate, what I teach, and what I live out is going to be my boy's standard tomorrow. So I really keep that in mind as I live and as I grow and as I present myself to my boys and then later on to my business and to my friends. But most importantly, I know my example today is going to be my boy's standard tomorrow. And another thing here, and when you live with that kind of intentionality, your influence begins to outlast you, which God, I pray that my positive influence outlasts me within my boys. And I pray that all my sin and my shortcomings stops with me. And that's just me being honest, because that's the difference between being impressive and leaving a legacy is what we do now. Because again, the example we set today is going to be our family's standard tomorrow. And that takes me to my third point. Your influence is your legacy. Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Legacy is built one decision at a time. So you may have some drug dealers, some drug users, some alcoholics, some addicts in your life. I know I do. And that gives us reasons to not build a legacy. We have every excuse in the book to not be the man God called us to be, not to be disciples, not to be leaders. We have every excuse to not be that, but we're choosing that all dies here today, and our legacy is going to be built from now, from today on, because our influence isn't just shaping today. Most importantly, it's shaping tomorrow. Our legacy is being shaped by the decisions we make today, and our leadership is going to echo not only in our family, not only in our boys and our kids, it's going to echo in our church and in our community in a way that your great grandkids thank God for the decisions you're making today. So here's the real question. What kind of legacy are you building right now? Because legacy isn't built someday, it's built today. And that leads us to our weekly challenge. So our challenge this week and my challenge to you is pick one area in your life where your walk and your talk don't align. That could be, do you preach self-control but react in anger? Do you talk with faith but you act in fear? Do you want to lead, but you lack personal discipline? Whatever that may be, this week, take a daily action in that area. Live the life you're calling others to and start leading by example. So that's it for today. That's today's episode of Grind to Glorify. If this challenge or encourage you, please like and subscribe and share this for more. Again, share this with a brother who you think really needs to start living by an example, or who has a legacy that you can see and he may not see, but you truly believe that he has a lasting legacy that'll start today, and that he can start leading by example and start affecting those around him. Please subscribe to the podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Please go subscribe so you get more content and more episodes like this, more great things to come. I'm super excited of what God has in store here at Grind to Glorify. Please leave a review. I'm learning that the more reviews, the better the reach is for this podcast, and the more that we're able to go out there and build a community of godly men who want to become disciples and leaders. So I just want to encourage you, follow and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you think down below in the comments. And in the comments, I want you to tell me what's the one area you're going to start building in your life this week. Until then, always know, grind hard, trust boldly, and glorify God. See you next time.